Make yourself immune from the dangers of increased taxes during retirement. In this educational episode, I'm going to address why the taxes you pay on traditional retirement accounts like IRAs and 401ks actually is one of the worst ways to save, because the number one danger that causes most retirees to outlive their money is increased taxes. Most people are duped into thinking they're going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire, and most people who are savers are not. I'll explain why. So I'm Doug Andrew, and what do I know? Well, I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for just under 5 decades, helping thousands of people in America prepare for a comfortable retirement so they will not outlive their money. And I have found that the biggest dangers that cause most retirees to outlive their money in order are: number 1, taxes; number 2, inflation; number 3, market volatility. So this episode is talking about the danger of taxes and how to eliminate that danger. And so I found that if you accumulate your money totally income tax free, and then you can access your money totally income tax free, that helps alleviate that danger of thinking that taxes in the future will not affect what I pull out. Because when I ask audiences, how many of you think that taxes in the future will likely be lower? I get nothing but crickets when I ask that question. How many of you think they're going to be the same? And 1 or 2 out of 1,000 raise their hands. But when I say, how many of you think that taxes in the future will likely be higher, and a sea of hands goes up. And then I say, well, why are you putting money into tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks and accumulating money tax-deferred to some future perceived unknown advantage, procrastinating paying tax, when you are convinced taxes are going to be higher later? Why do you want to wait until your account values are higher and taxes are higher? And then they just sit there like dumbfounded. And I go, yeah, we just sort of follow the herd, putting money into the company's 401k, being told, oh, you'll likely be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. Well, that has not been true or axiomatic, automatically assumed now for over 30 years. Most savers in America are not in lower tax brackets when they retire, and a lot of them have been killing their tax deductions along the way. You pay off your house a lot of times by the time you retire, so you don't have those mortgage interest deductions. You are not contributing money to IRAs or 401ks during retirement. You don't have that deduction. If you're a business owner, you don't have those deductions anymore. Your kids are gone, or if they move back in, you can't deduct them anymore. And Congress keeps raising taxes because of irresponsible government spending and the printing of money. So taxes will likely be higher in the future. So this is why it would be far better to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later. And this is what actually precipitated the introduction of Roths in 1997. And so when they introduced the Roth, Congress was hard up for tax revenue. And so they said, you know, the smart people, they're realizing they're not in a lower tax bracket when they retire. So let's let them roll money over from an IRA or 401k into a Roth and pay tax, and now we'll get a bunch of tax revenue instead of waiting until they retire to get this tax revenue, and we'll get a bigger sum, a windfall, which they did, because people rolled over huge amounts to get the taxes over and done with, while the values were less and tax rates were less. And then they continue to accumulate tax-free, and then Roths create tax-free income. Well, my favorite financial vehicle, and this has been true since 1980, is a properly structured, max-funded, indexed universal life insurance contract. And then in 1997, when interest rates started to come down in America, they introduced indexed universal life. That's not an index mutual fund. This is indexing, where you participate in the upside when the market is going up, so that you can benefit and get credited 10 and 12 and 25 and 61% like I have. But when the market crashes, you do not lose a dime due to a market crash. You may not make much of anything, but you don't lose, okay? And so my average returns have been 7 to 10% in this laser fund, but it's tax-free. And it has additional benefits that Roths will never have. And so when you're trying to eliminate the danger of increased taxes, it's really quite simple. Just convert your retirement nest egg to something that's going to be totally tax-free. In fact, I recommend that at least 40 to 60% of your retirement income not even show up every year on the front page of your 1040 tax return. The IRS will know you're receiving this money, but they'll know it's tax-free because ever since 1986 tax reform, the only types of income Americans pay income tax on is earned income, salaries and wages, and passive income, which would be rental or lease income, and then portfolio income, which is interest and dividends. When you take money out of an IRA or 401k, that's going to be fully taxable. And most people are not in lower tax brackets. And so people are flabbergasted when I show them the darkness of the night. If they keep that money in those IRAs or 401ks and they get duped into postponing and waiting until they're age 72, and then they're told to take RMDs, required minimum distributions. That's the worst advice I've heard for most Americans. That's very myopic, very short-sighted. You might be paying the least amount of tax in one single year by taking out the required minimum distribution. But if you added up that from age 72 to your life expectancy and your spouse's life expectancy as a beneficiary, and then as it passes down to your kids, they have to get the money out and taxed within 10 years. The government wants their share of that. It's the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves. And so when you calculate that, most Americans are absolutely shocked at the amount of taxes you will pay. Basically, at age 65, if you had $500,000 or $1 million in IRAs or 401ks, and you took that advice and postponed till 72 and took RMDs, you will likely pay at least that much in tax. If you saved $1 million, you're going to pay $1 million or more in taxes by stringing it out. Because the government is your permanent partner on that. They have a permanent tax lien on that IRA or 401k if you continue to string it out. It would be far better to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later, and the answer is not a Roth. I've never owned an IRA or 401k, never will. I've never owned a Roth and never will. And so in order to not outlive your money, you want to convert to totally tax-free. So a properly structured, maximum funded indexed universal life insurance contract was introduced by E.F. Hutton back in 1980. They introduced universal life. And then 17 years later, 1997, because interest rates started to come down, they introduced indexed universal life that allowed us to be able to continue with diversification and rebalancing to earn rates of return averaging 11%, netting 10% at the end of the day, cash on cash. And so that every $1 million you accumulate can generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income, a 10% payout without depleting principal if you live to be 120. Do you know if you had $1 million nest egg in IRAs or 401ks and you pulled out $100,000 a year in a 33% tax bracket, you're only going to net $67,000. To net $100,000, you have to pull out 50% more money in a 33% tax bracket. You have to pull out $150,000, pay tax of a third, 50 to net $100,000 to buy gas, groceries, prescriptions, and golf green fees. That $1 million nest egg, if it was even earning 10%, which most Americans aren't earning 10% on their IRAs or 401ks, but if it was, it would be totally gone, drained dry in 11 years. Whereas a laser fund, you pull out $100,000 a year, it's tax-free. You'd still have your $1 million nest egg if you live to be 120 years old. Now, most people don't live to be that old, but one between a husband and wife and a baby boomer couple is likely to make it to age 96 today. That's another 20 plus years of income that a laser fund can generate, $100,000 a year, compared to the same amount of money in an IRA or 401k at the same rate of return. That's $2 million of more retirement money, plus you still have your $1 million. That's a $3 million better retirement account than the same amount of money in an IRA or 401k at the same rate of return, starting at age 65. So this is very important for you to be able to learn why a properly structured, max funded indexed universal life insurance contract is the ultimate dream solution for retirement. It knocks the socks off of IRAs and 401ks. It's not tax deferred, it's totally tax free. You want to accumulate your money tax-free under Section 72E of the Internal Revenue Code. You can read and learn about this. Access your money under Section 7702. These sections have been around in one form or another for 108 years in the Internal Revenue Code. And then at the end of the day, anything that is left in that account when you die will transfer income tax-free, and it will usually blossom. Meaning, if I died right now at age 71 in an accident, every million I might have in a portfolio of laser funds would blossom and pay out about 2 million, totally tax-free. And people say, well, how much does that cost? And I say, well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. It's actually being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax if I followed the herd and put my money in tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks, where most Americans will be out of money. They will outlive their money within 11 years. Don't do that. So if you'd like to learn more about my favorite vehicle, when it's structured correctly and funded properly, the IUL is deemed a laser fund. Liquid asset safely earning return spells the acronym LASER. And so to claim your free copy of this 300-page book, it's been flying off of our warehouse shelves. If you go to Amazon, it's $20 plus shipping and handling. I'll pay for the book. Simply go to laserfund.com, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require some skin in the game. I'll cover the rest of that cost, but I'll pay for the book. I will fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. But while you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's audio and video formats available. You can register for free educational webinars that we teach on a regular basis. You can even schedule an appointment to talk to an IUL specialist that I've trained and I oversee, and they will meet with you with no cost or obligation to where you can see it done correctly and see numbers and how they apply in your particular set of circumstances. So please claim your free copy of the Laser Fund book and embark on a journey so that you can eliminate the number one danger of outliving your money by not having to pay tax for the rest of your life on your retirement income.